You've seen how the whole narrative about UFOs have changed over time, right? You notice first initially people would try to prove that something is a UFO. Like if they see something, something that's weird, or let's say a UFO sighting, an alleged UFO sighting, they would try to prove that okay, this is a UFO sighting. But now that's changed. Now they try to prove it's not a UFO sighting because there's so much of shit happening out there. There's so many things, there's so many stories that are exactly the same from people scattered all across the world, that now people are literally trying to prove that okay, it's not a UFO sighting. I mean, when you have NASA and the White House officially put out documents stating that yo, there's something out there.
Unidentified flying object.
They don't even call it that anymore. They're called UAVs, unidentified aerial vehicles. And there's another name to it as well. There's UAV and there's UA something else. There's another name to it. I can't remember that right now. But officially the government stopped calling it UFOs like decades ago, and it took us a while to catch on to UAV. So it's when these documents leaked that they realize this, that they're not calling it UFOs anymore. They're calling it UAVs and unidentified aerial vehicles. So I mean,
I do believe in UFOs, by the way.
you have to. I mean, come on. If you look at the amount of planets and galaxies and universes out there,
The multiverse, bro.
not the multiverse per se, but
The universe itself. We haven't discovered even like we're still discovering the universe. You can't even say in what percentage we know about the universe.
I think we know. I don't even. I think we know less than 1%. Like the Voyager 1 and the Voyager 2. Those are the two man-made satellites that have drifted away furthest from Earth, and they've barely even scratched the surface. Like you can think about how much is out there, dude. Right? And you can think about how advanced they are, right? Because when people think UFOs, they think, okay, like the fuck up about humanity is we think we're the top, like we're the top of the food chain on Earth, but maybe not in the whole galaxy, right? And I'm not saying that aliens are smarter than us, right? And that's what's even more scary, right? Okay, for example, let's say things like electricity. We invented electricity, right? We understood how to use magnets, we understand thrust, we understand levitation, we understand how to break the speed of sound, right? And how do we achieve these things is we create a machine that can do this for us, right? And this machine is made up of certain materials.
Exactly, but we still haven't understood how to do all of that together.
No, and that's fine. For example, uh on the Joe Rogan podcast, when Bob Lazar came on, he said something that really got me. Okay, he's like, there's a certain element that they discovered on the project that they were working on, and that's an element that we haven't been able to create as yet. We've created it, but it's been stable for only about 4 seconds. But what if on the planet that they are from, that element in its natural state exists in a stable form, right? Like we spend decades. For example, hydrogen, there are different types of hydrogen, right? Some of them are stable, some of them are not so stable, and we spend years and years of research to find a way how to stabilize it, right? But what if on their planet it exists in a stable form?
Exactly, because over here we're just trying to reverse engineer what we found there.
What if, like, you get what I'm saying, right? The materials and the atmosphere of their planet is such that it allows them to space travel without having the intellect to actually build these things. Or you get what I'm saying, right? They don't need to have the intellect to build a machine to travel through space. For them, it's an easy job. For us, it took years. It took about 2000, like more than 2000 years. It took like 4, 5, 6,000 years, however long humanity has existed, for us to reach this point in time where we've created satellites. And, but what if they already have materials that exist in such a form that they could just travel through space?
And rightly so, they do.
And that's what's fucked up, because it's because we are like us, mankind or humanity is 4,000, 5,000 years old, that we've reached this point where at least majority of the earth's population is against war. And we're on the we're trying to make better ourselves, right? But that's not necessarily the state with the aliens. For example, imagine if I take an AK-47 and go and give it to Alexander the Great. He may not understand the technology, but he sure as hell would take over the world with it. Right? That's my point. So imagine if you're from an alien planet and that technology or that material that allows you to travel through space exists in a natural form over there. You don't have the intellect to be responsible with that technology. You're just going to be like, hey, guess what I can do with this? And boom, now you're conquering planets or traveling through space and wreaking havoc, becoming a threat to other species out there. Makes a lot of sense that if there are aliens out there, for starters, they don't have to be more technologically advanced than us. They just have the materials that exist on their planet that allow them to do the things that we would take another century to do.
And that's a complete possibility that they do exist, things like that do exist. And it's a wonder that we actually even may have proof, may not have proof, but it's a wonder that we haven't been invaded by the aliens.
Maybe they're just observing us, right? Like maybe all these spacecrafts and UFOs and UAVs that we see, they're just observing us.
I honestly do think that, like,
They're just looking at like, oh, these fucking bunch of apes, like possessive bunch of apes. They look at us as just these possessive bunch of apes fighting each other. Right? I mean, think about it. If you think of, like, for example, let's say we discover aliens on Mars. Would you ever think that they have a caste system within them and they would fight themselves? We wouldn't think that, right? We would look at them as one civilization, right? We wouldn't look at them as, oh, upper caste, oh, lower caste. So in a way, if there are aliens out there now observing us, they must think we're a fucking bunch of idiots.